Hi, I'm Rob. I make board games. This is a devlog for my St. Merchants. Um, I've done one other devlog and a couple of streams. I'm still playing around with kind of how I want to do this, but um, I'll just tell you a little bit what has been happening over the last few weeks. So, in one of the streams, I went through and created some art direction for this game. I also figured out kind of the size of the box I want, started writing up some stuff to give to an artist. Pick the direction and the styles I'm looking for. I really want a unique style for this game, a style that I'm not capable of producing, although I am working on the map art here. But the game has some characters in it. It has a cover, obviously, has many cards that have illustrations on most of the cards. So a lot of it is the style I'm looking for is not the style that I'm capable of producing. Um, so yeah, I defined those and I looked at many artists online. I did that in the stream as well as offline. And this is an example of an artist I found that is I really like their work a lot. Um, he makes really fun, cartoony, kind of quirky stuff, which feels like it fits the aesthetic. I haven't I would like to reach out to Lunsu and ask if he's available for any work and if he'd be interested in working on the game and kind of um, what kind of budget I would need for his work. But yeah, you should check out Lunsu on DeviantArt. Uh, Lufio, I believe, is his real name. And yeah, you should check him out. I'm thinking about reaching out to him and see if he's interested in doing any work for this game. If not, I'm sure there's many other there. I also did on a stream work on the map. So a lot of these kind of light and shadow I'm doing, I have yet to add the color that I want, but I've created that like contrast and light and shadow that I want for mountains. Uh, yeah. Some playtesting. So I usually use Screentop for playtesting, screentop.gg, and I do playtesting online. I have done about 18 playtests in person of this game, and mostly with people who are not heavy gamers, not designers, sure. And that's always a good experience, and I think a good place to start because it gave me a base of people like the game and think it's fun. You know, it's fairly easy to learn. But one thing that players that aren't, I guess I'm calling them heavy gamers, they aren't going to pick up and be able to identify why something was difficult to learn, or if something is slow, like if there's some slow progression, they might think, oh, it's just me. They won't think the game, they won't really think their feelings are a result of poor design or anything like that. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Depends what their other experiences are, right? And how willing they are. Straight up, brutally honest. And playing with some designers online has been very useful. And playing with designers has its own drawbacks, such as designers will often give you all of their ideas for your game instead of trying to provide solutions. Can be useful instead of identifying problems, which is ultimately what you want from your playtest. Is what what was your experience like playing the game? But I'm open to all types of feedback all the time. Well, that might be a bit too generous, but within reason. And some of the feedback was very useful. The biggest things that I got out of the playtests were the player progression is slow. So there's a little overview of the game. You have these buyer cards, which don't have any art on them right now. And they're looking for a specific type of, they're looking for to buy a specific good that's their favorite desired good. The toy maker wants the hammer, but they'll buy anything within that category. So you can see that hammer symbol is a tool. And the warrior also buy any tool. but prefers the sword. So you can travel to, oh, fix that. You can travel to the city where they're at, and you can sell them any good that they would buy. And then meanwhile, you're also buying upgrades for your merchant. So you have these upgrade cards and slot them in to upgrade your actions. So like this jaunty jacket upgrades your commerce action, for example. And as you upgrade your action, it makes that action more powerful, obviously. And players found that the game started off very slow. They didn't have a lot of power or agency, they didn't have a lot of money or opportunity or choice. Those are some of the things that I've been tweaking for my next playtest. Just to show you what else is going on here, you also have goods that are produced in each region, and they have different values to be bought and sold. Won't go too much more into that, but you know, if you're interested in playtesting, please leave a comment, reach out, and I'll make sure you are able to join the next one. So as I work on that, the other feedback I got was the user interface. Just little things like the placement of icons could be more consistent and intuitive. You know, colors of things, which I slap this together, which is the best way to prototype. Just get it to the table as soon as possible because you're gonna have to change everything anyways after you test it. So yeah, here's an example. I slapped on purple on these bottom pieces, and those are like the upgrades you can get, but I also made purple the color of the buyer cards. So it was very confusing for people. They didn't know that these cards associate with this, and I also used this star background everywhere, like a placeholder. So essentially, little UI things that will actually make playtesting better. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on them, but I have made improvements. So I will show you some of those improvements right. First of all, the currency, I think the currency looks a lot better. Circle is now money universally, but you can tell the difference between the colors by color, obviously, but also it's the hexagon, circle, and the square inside of the coin. And they look kind of metallic. It's a nice touch. Made some of the icons more intuitive. Square is a type of good. And, you know, I had wheat here before, but the food that you're selling, you're playing these magnificent merchants, right? You're not selling staples, you're selling specialty artisan food, like coffee bean, hops. Well, I guess hops might have been, but specialty hops. The toy symbol was like blocks and they weren't intuitive, so I made a little dolly. Simple things. Probably not going to look like this in the end, but making the playtesting process better, making it easier for people to play is really good, and I learn a lot from that process. And also just move the upgrades into the same box as the action, so it's creating that action doesn't need to have a separate box with a different color. The goods cards are now they now have consistent layout across the board. Your purchase and sell prices. Yeah. Buyers are now green color instead. Yeah, those are all good things. Oh yeah. Going back, actually, just back to what I was saying earlier about art. Another thing I worked on, which I'm probably not going to end up keeping it. I don't know. I might show it to an artist anyways, but that's not it. I see. I covered it over with these boxes. Okay, so I drew sort of a scene for the front of the box to just as a concept piece, something I can give to an artist and say, here's kind of what's in my brain. You know, I want a merchant walking into town. There's the sun in the distance, the mountains, and town or whatever. Just kind of lay that out, but I don't know if I'm gonna it's gonna end up looking anything like this. Especially if like the artist style that I just showed you, he's got more of a flat perspective to his drawings. That was really cool too. So anyway, it's great to get ideas, put them down, and keep all your ideas. That's what I find. You never know when it's going to be useful. All right. Another thing I spent some time on to make my life easier going forward is making my prototyping more efficient. Data merge in Affinity Publisher. Other softwares capable of this, I use Affinity Designer and Affinity Publisher, but check out what you've got. Here's my templates for the different types of cards. We've got the ocean cards, the good cards, buyers, which I've made green now, and upgrade cards. And the beautiful thing is, for this file, I just have 4 of them. I set up the templates, and I use data merge. What is data merge? It basically means you feed it a spreadsheet, and it generates your cards. So we open data merge manager. You can basically add files, CSV files, and I have them over here. So for all the goods, buyers, and again, prototyping, anything could change here. These are all in playtesting. You fill out your CSV file, your spreadsheet, whatever, export it as CSV, and then drop it into here. And I'm happy to talk more about this if anyone's really interested in it. But show you. Basically, I dump all of the images. Here's the the template for the card. Here's some placeholder art that I just ripped off Google Images just to use in prototyping, or not for any other reason. And then the CSV files. I put everything in one folder for simplicity, so that I can in the CSV file just identify the file name pulling in. I set up templates with these fields. So for good buyers, we've got these fields, flavor text, title, subtitle, this icon. And yes, it can pull in pictures and text. Really fun. And then you just hit generate, and it exports all your cards to a new file. And then you get all of these cards. And what's great is when I want to update text, I just update my spreadsheet and regenerate. Yeah, you could go in. This is kind of like where the debate lies. Sure, if you just want to change text on one card, then of course it's easier and takes less time to go in and change just text on one card. However, a lot of the times we're not just doing that. Like a lot of the times we're updating a whole bunch of values at once for the costs of things, or we're updating, the backgrounds or different art assets, or the whole layout of a card. And if you have to do that for 50 cards, then that's a huge waste of time. Whereas this, between playtests, I'll typically record, here's a whole bunch of things to do, and then I'll apply all of them. This is old ones that you saw on green top there. I haven't generated yet from this template. Yeah, still working on that. And that's some of the ways that I'm making prototyping more efficient. And then once I export them, I can just open up screen top, edit my file, and import new assets. If I'm doing physical playtests, it has to be printed out and cut, which is a lot of work. So I do digital almost entirely, kind of in wave. I do it in kind of in wave. So I've been doing like now I have a physical prototype for a time period, and we'll test that one a lot. And then I'll do digital and test that one a lot. Maybe switch back and forth. You know, they could be done at the same time as well, but that could be confusing if you're running different versions. Yeah, find stuff that works for you. There's tons of resources online, different groups you can play test with. What I like to do. The last thing I've been working on is adding characters, because I want each player to have a unique merchant that represents them and that they're using, you know, to move around the world. And I already wanted that before, but because of the player progression thing, one of the ways that I can solve that is by giving you a better starting state, because the progression curve is kind of like very slowly, and then it comes like a hockey stick, like comes up quickly, you know. So that's not the feel I want, you know, my experience goal. I wanted to, you know, start a little steeper, so you feel like you're starting to gain ground a bit quicker. And I have to watch out and make sure it doesn't get too steep. I don't want players to explode and then kind of run out of things they can do. So the first thing I'm testing is starting you out with a better progression. So the character, I've just started to draft some basic facts. You know, they each have a starting spot, a good they start with because you didn't start with anything before, what monies they start with. And then you might start with an upgrade or something. Basically, going to give players more things to start and potentially some choice, maybe even a power or a potion or something. So they can kind of like hit the ground running and have a bit more of a chance at the very beginning. And I think it will, well, we'll see when we test. I think it'll be also just more fun to feel more powerful early on. Like I said, the curve is there, so players did feel like at some point in the game, players felt, okay, now I'm doing stuff. It just took a while to get there, so simple thing to fix. Just try stuff and play test. Happy that we didn't come across any major bugs, but you know, at this stage in development, after I've done this many playtests, kind of worked out all the major bugs, and the game has a simple for loop, which is just travel, buy, sell, upgrade your person. And yes, that is all for today's devlog. If you are interested in seeing anything more about this game, you have any questions about it, leave me a comment. If you're interested in watching live stream or listening to live streams, I can do more of them. I'm probably instead going to record more footage that I can show you just in devlogs. I'm not planning to be a full-time content creator or anything, but if you're interested in this kind of thing, then, and you know other people who are, then I would love it if you'd share it with people. And yeah, thanks for watching to the end of the video. Have a great day.